U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had said that Hamas has proposed numerous changes, some of them unworkable, to the U.S.-backed proposal for a ceasefire with Israel in Gaza. He also added that mediators are determined to close the gaps. Listen in to what he said.
We were waiting on one response, and that was the response from Hamas. And as the Prime Minister said, last night we received a response. Hamas has proposed numerous changes to the proposal that was on the table. We discussed those changes last night with Egyptian colleagues and today with the Prime Minister. Some of the changes are workable, some are not.
Meanwhile, senior Hamas official Osama Hamdan has denied that the group put forward new ideas. He reiterated Hamas' stance that it was Israel that was rejecting proposals and accused the U.S. administration of going along with its close ally. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, meanwhile, said that many of Hamas' demands were minor and not unanticipated, while other demands differ more substantively from what was outlined in the UN Security Council resolution. Blinken also met the Qatari Prime Minister in Doha. After the meeting, Qatar's Prime Minister said that the behavior of both Israel and Hamas is being counterproductive to the efforts of ceasefire. Prime Minister Al-Thani, however, assured that there is a clear and firm call to end the war in Gaza. Negotiators from the US, Egypt and Qatar have been trying for months to mediate a ceasefire in the conflict and free the hostages. Hamas said that it is ready to accept an agreement leading to a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, as well as full withdrawal from the enclave, reconstruction and release of the Palestinian prisoners. On the other side, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly said that Israel will not commit to ending its campaign before Hamas is eliminated. As diplomats seek a ceasefire deal, which seems to be in a limbo, Israel is continuing its assaults in central and southern Gaza that are among the bloodiest of the war. Israeli forces stepped up air and tank bombardment in Rafah and central Gaza. An Israeli airstrike on a house in Al-Nusayrat refugee camp killed 3. Residents earlier said Israeli forces pounded areas across Gaza as tanks advanced towards northern Rafah along the Egyptian border. The Palestinian health official said 6 people were killed in an airstrike on Gaza City in the north, and 1 person was killed by a tank shell in Rafah. On the other hand, deadly violence has intensified along Israel's northern border with Lebanon. Lebanon's Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah rained rockets on northern Israel, and this comes a day after an Israeli strike killed one of its senior commanders. According to the Israeli military, 3 waves of around 215 rockets and missiles filled the sky over northern Israel. Hezbollah has also claimed more than 10 other attacks on the Israeli military, including one with drones. In the ongoing campaign in the Red Sea, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels claimed an attack on a merchant ship. In a statement, the rebels said that they had carried out a military operation targeting the Tutor ship in the Red Sea using a naval drone, aerial drones, and ballistic missiles. The ship was hit about 126 kilometers southwest of the rebel-held port city of Hodeidah. The U.S. Central Command confirmed that the Tutor had been struck by a Houthi unmanned surface vessel that caused severe flooding and damage to the engine room. And for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen sending us a report on Hamas's response on the U.S. ceasefire proposal.
So Hamas's claims that their proposed amendments to the hostage truce proposal are not significant, but Israel views Hamas's response to its proposal as a rejection. An Israeli official has said that Hamas's response had changed all the main and the most meaningful parameters. Now, Hamas reportedly wants a ceasefire in the first phase of the deal, but Israel first wants Hamas's governing and military capabilities to be dismantled. Now, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has criticized Hamas's response to Israel's proposal, proposal, which Blinken said was almost identical to Hamas's proposal from May. And Blinken appeared to question if Hamas is negotiating in good faith. He suggested that some of Hamas's changes to the proposal are workable, but he also said that some are not, and suggested that if Hamas continues to say no, that the continuation of the war that Hamas started would be because of Hamas. Now, according to reports, negotiations are still likely to continue. Blinken said that mediators are committed to bridging the gaps, but he said that that doesn't mean that the gaps will be bridged.
And she further tells us about Israel's escalating tensions with Lebanon. Listen in.
So on Wednesday, Hezbollah fired 215 rockets and several more missiles and drones towards northern Israel. This followed the IDF killing of a senior Hezbollah commander after huge fires were caused by Hezbollah rockets across northern Israel. Now, there have been almost daily rockets fired by Hezbollah into Israel since the 8th of October, in which intelligence suggests there have been coordinated attacks between Hezbollah and Hamas. Meanwhile, Palestinian media is reporting that Israel has struck inside the safe zone in Gaza. The IDF denies those allegations. A UN report has accused Israel of crimes against humanity, and Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has said that Israel is a democratic country defending itself from assault on 7 fronts. And the report ignores decades of terror and rocket attacks on Israeli civilians. Now, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has suggested that neither Israel nor Hezbollah are looking for war, and that the Gazan ceasefire is the best way to wind down all of the fighting.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.